Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. This is Todd with Industrial Comfort. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this rectangular Naguri pattern bowl. Now it's a really quick, easy project if you have the right tool. And I've created a jig, which I'm going to use, and I'll put a link in the description showing you how to make one, that I used to make the Naguri pattern before I chucked it up and created the bowl pattern inside the rectangle. Let's get started. I made this bowl from a block of 6 by 9 inch cherry, and what I've done here is create a grid, and I've marked halfway down and halfway across. And then what I decided to do is measure at the halfway point to actually create quadrants, if you will, and then I measured an inch in, because what I want is approximately a 5-inch circle, which is going to serve as the perimeter of the bowl part, and I wanted an inch sort of buffer from the edge on all sides. So I've marked that with my punch, and I'm going to bring it over to the drill press and use a 3-inch Forstner bit to just drill a shallow hole, which I'm going to use to mount to my lathe chuck. Now I wanted to drill the hole for the chuck before I flipped it over to create the Naguri pattern. So what I'm going to use is some double-sided tape on the bottom here just to keep the block in place as I'm creating the pattern. And then once that's done, we'll put on the lathe and begin to shape out the bowl. I made this Naguri pattern jig in a previous video, and I'll put a link in the description for how to make this. And we're going to use this to create the pattern for the top of the bowl. As you can see, the Naguri pattern came out pretty cool. So I'm going to take this, we're going to mount it up to the lathe, and we're going to cut out the bowl section. Alright, so I've got the blank mounted to the lathe here. I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to cut out the bowl section. I'm going to use a bowl gouge for this. So I ended up, I've got about the right perimeter here, or actually I can go a little bit, maybe I'll go a little bit more. I was hoping that this would be a little bit more centered with the edge here. but I can always trim this down a little bit. But what I need to figure out is how much more depth I've got here. I can probably go down a little bit more. I'm just going to measure it out real quick, and then I'll finish with this and we'll smooth it out and sand it up. So I just picked up this bowl scraper from Thompson Tools. I've never used a bowl scraper before, and as you can see, I've got some tool marks and a little bit of tear out. Very curious to see how this thing does. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. Wow, that is pretty cool. Again, I've never used a scraper before. I'm gonna probably hit it a couple more times. I can feel some ridges in here. I'm just gonna smooth things out, but yeah, love it so far. At this point, I'm going to sand it out a little bit, and then we'll pretty much be done. And like I said, I'll probably trim this edge a little bit just to match the margins here, and then give it a final sand, and we'll figure out what kind of coating we want to put on this thing. Now for these projects, I usually use a more robust finish, but I decided to go with a beeswax just because, I don't know, why not? So let's see how this comes out. And that's how you make a Naguri pattern square bowl, or I should say rectangle bowl. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.